Hi, my name's Andy Ely. I'm a senior funeral director with G Seller Independent Funeral Directors, and we've been serving bereaved families since 1910. I'm sure you're all well aware there's lots and lots of different myths, misconceptions, and taboos around the funeral profession. So we've decided to put this series of podcasts together to try and answer some of those questions and dispel some of those myths. Please, if you do have any questions, like, share, and subscribe, and pop those questions to liftingthelid@gseller.co.uk, and we will do our best to answer them for you. It genuinely is our family caring for your family. Today we're going to be talking about prepaid funeral plans, and I'm joined by my colleague Amy. So Amy, hello, how are you?
Hello, yeah, well, thank you.
Welcome
Officially in
to
the hot seat, here we are.
Absolutely, we got you eventually.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Amy, let's just tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit of an introduction.
So I've been with G Seller since 2014 and I started out in the masonry department.
Okay.
Then since progressed into the prepaid funeral side of things, alongside doing business development, marketing, HR, health and safety, podcast.
Bit of PR, a bit like all of us, a bit of everything, many hats.
Absolutely. Do a bit of everything. But prepaid funeral plans is an area that we're really passionate about, and I've got a great team that work alongside me.
Absolutely. So prepaid funeral plans. What is a prepaid funeral plan?
Of course. So it's a safe and secure way of planning ahead, essentially, and ensuring that there's no uncertainty about your final wishes. As it stands at the moment, less than 1% of families know all of their loved ones' final wishes.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that I definitely don't know some of my family members' final wishes, and that's even down to cremation or burial.
It's quite surprising, isn't it? Because I'm in this exact same boat.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think if you're in a position to be able to talk about it or want to talk about it or explore it, then we've both seen, haven't we, at the time of need, those families that have had a funeral plan and some of those details have been noted down, the relief on the family's face where they go,
absolutely. It
I
makes
didn't know
it
that.
so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, we can spend a long time with a family during a funeral arrangement if we've got the basics, a basic structure of it. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
you say, the family know they're getting the wishes of their loved one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that we do funeral plans, we don't necessarily say you've got to go with option A, B, or C, or a bronze, silver, gold package. We do the independent way. So what that means is that you get a funeral plan that is befitting to your wants, your needs, your wishes. So you're only having the funeral that you require. There aren't elements in there that you don't need, aren't fit for purpose, so on and so forth. And we arrange them as if we were looking after you today. So by that, I mean, we can go into as much or as little detail as you feel comfortable with. Obviously, at time of need, a funeral director will take questions such as, how would you like your hair to be? As the music choices that we've got,
Absolutely.
Is there something specific you would like to be laid to rest in? And we take all of those details down and we can go into that detail should a loved one or a client feel comfortable in doing so.
So to a degree, we're kind of we are actually arranging that person's funeral without the date and time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. So I was going to ask you, kind of, what are the benefits? What's the point of doing this? But I guess that's kind of been answered, because there's not just the financial element, which we'll come to in a moment, but there is that peace of mind, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. So the way that we do funeral plans, because they're itemised and they're bespoke to said person, the invoices are split into two parts. So people may have heard of our professional services, and they're all guaranteed at today's price. So they consist of the coffin you wish to be laid to rest in, conveyance into our care, preparation and presentation of deceased. Those elements are guaranteed at today's cost. So irrelevant of if we have a price increase, they're guaranteed. And then people may have heard of elements such as third-party costs or the word disbursements.
Absolutely.
That often crops up.
Yeah.
And they're costs that us as funeral directors have no control of. So they are things
Such as
orders of service, catering, minister, flowers, all of those. Crematorium, and crematorium's the big one where costs can creep up. So we have no control of those. So by putting your money into the trust, it'll accrue interest anywhere between 1% and 6%, depending on market condition, allows to offset any of those potential rising costs. So at the time of need, there's very little for a family to pay, and in some instances, there's nothing to pay. It just depends on the amount of interest accrued and the time of taking out the funeral plan.
So I think there's quite a unique point with G-Seller here, that if the funeral plan grows above, we actually refund, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And we still keep flexibility within the plan. So if people are taking out a plan and in today's moment, they require 3 limousines because we've got a big family, we're planning ahead for all
Absolutely.
the grandchildren and so on and so forth. But actually, at time of need, circumstances have changed. Family are living away, some people may not be able to come, so on and so forth. Those limousines can be taken off the bill. So that money is refunded back to the family, or the money's offset against something else. We would like a little bit more catering, we would like more flowers, orders of service. That money can be reallocated within the plan at the time of need, so it's still fit for purpose for that loved one and for the family saying goodbye.
Absolutely. Really difficult question, because I guess the sky's the limit, really. But how much does a plan cost?
Yeah, so we say it's your funeral, your way.
Okay.
So it can be as simple as the term that people may have heard as a direct cremation. So your funeral can be as simple as
So
that.
we can have a simple direct
Yeah,
cremation.
absolutely.
Brilliant.
And then all the way through to, something extravagant, bespoke. Somebody loved a party. We're now at venues decorating them. We can do the whole hog, and it's just keeping people open minded to that. And sometimes it's nice to have the conversation prior because, like I said, not everyone knows everyone's wishes. So yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any set fees in there at all?
Set fee. So there's a one-off administration that goes to Golden Charter. So we work in association with Golden Charter, and they're a
Okay.
trust fund, and they sit completely separate to us as funeral directors. So that one-off fee is for them to look after your money in a safe, secure, and ethical way, and to ensure that your money is doing what we need it to do. We need it to grow. We need it to accrue that interest, so the family at the time of need don't have a large shortfall of money to pay for. It's not a reoccurring fee. Once it's paid and the money's in the trust fund, it's there, it's safe, it's secure. And the Golden Charter will keep you up to date and write to you and let you know how your funeral plan is doing.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. So an update of how it's growing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. So can anyone put together a funeral plan?
Yeah, they can. They can indeed. So it's not like certain insurance policies or so on and so forth, depending on health and what have you. So you can, doesn't matter what the state of health is, it's not means tested.
Okay.
It's a case of if you want a funeral plan for yourself or you want to take one out for somebody else because it's a financial benefit and you're trying to sort out finances and you feel like money is better suited in a certain area, such as later life planning, then yes, anyone can take out a funeral plan.
What about age range?
Age range. Okay, so again, anyone can. The only point where age comes into it is depending on the payment methods. So if it's the instalment option, which is where somebody may pay for a funeral plan over a period of time, that's when a funeral plan has to be paid on or before your 80th birthday. But other than that, you can be any age to take it out, but payment has to be payment in full or the 12 monthly payment option.
So I can see you got some brochures there.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
a
here's my
funeral
literature.
plan? Is a funeral plan the only option? Are there anything else we can do here? So
No,
I spoke
yeah.
about having that, that foresight. A family with some information makes it so much easier to arrange that funeral. But there may be difficulties in financing. So are there any other options that we can provide?
Yeah, so we put together funeral wishes booklet, and
Okay.
it allows people to fill this out in the comfort of their own home at their own pace, having conversations with family members, so on and so forth. And there are questions in here and things to think about, as we've discussed. What coffin would you like to be laid to rest in? If you were cremated, would you like to be scattered? Where is that location? All the things are in here so people can start having those thoughts. That information can stay with the family, and the family can then provide us with that, or their funeral director at the time of need. All the information can come back to us and we can keep it on file. Free of charge service if they wanted us to sit down and go through it and type up that so they feel like they've had that conversation.
Absolutely.
We do not charge for our time or that service. But again, it takes away any uncertainty, and that's what's key about this. So it's not necessarily about the money, but it's about planning ahead and feeling comfortable that your family know your wishes.
Exactly. And I think that point there about your family knowing your wishes, it's important to tell people that you've taken a plan out or taken some wishes out.
Yes.
Because I can put money on there being a lot of plans in place that no one knows about.
Yeah.
Which is
a whole other topic.
Counterproductive, but we won't get into that. Amy, thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Again, I'm sure that's a very brief overview of prepaid planning. Any questions, please do like, share, and subscribe, and send those questions to liftingthelid@gseller.co.uk. And we'll see you next time.